Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Ramona. This is like a tongue twister. Live from Ramona, California. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kustubadas. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode 1381.
I have a question for you, Raghunath.
Yeah.
Why is Wisdom of the Sages always where you're from and never where I'm from?
Because I started this thing. That's how it started, and that's how we're keeping it going. Why is it?
You never thought about that, did you?
I did, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to wrestle this one. And because I travel a lot, it makes it a little bit more exciting. Live from the Himalayan peaks of Nepal.
All right. That's what it is?
Yeah, that could be it. Keep it exciting. Make people feel like they're on an adventure, living vicariously through my exhausting travels. They don't have to get exhausted.
I think it just really
experience
has
it
more to do with your inner desire to be like a television host or something like that.
Maybe. Could be that.
I think that's essentially what
that's
it is.
where Welcome to the Show came from. Welcome to the show. So we had Mara's birthday yesterday. It was really nice.
Yeah.
There. We went to Balboa Park, walked around, did tons of plant identification. We were stumped a little bit with all the California plants.
Yeah, we're a little out of our element.
Mm-hmm.
Saw the cactus garden. That was great. And then we went to this great vegan restaurant.
Was that the Mexican one, or are we going to Mexican
No.
one in L.A.?
This was
Okay.
This was in San Diego. What was it called again? Don and Jeans. Oh my God! If you're from visiting San Diego, everything was perfect.
Did you go to Ben and Esther's?
Not yet. We're gonna go. I'm thinking about flying on the way out. We fly out. We go to Ben and Esther's. No, I didn't go to Ben and Esther's yet. That's Mukundika Shores. And
What about Tom and Jerry's?
Vegan Jewish deli. But I did go to Pappy's Barbershop. That's another one.
We heard about that yesterday.
Mukundika Shores inventions. We're having a great time here in California. We leave today to meet you, my friend.
All right.
Get the pillows ready. Gonna be up there. Gonna see Linda. Gonna go to Govinda's. It was really nice having Srivas on the show yesterday.
Yeah, I bumped into him afterward. He was happy.
You know what? It's just good to honor people.
He deserves it.
It's part of like our tradition, but it feels so good just to appreciate other people. It feels good for them, feels good for us, it feels good for those who listen to it.
Yeah.
It's a nice part of the culture. We've got a good culture here with
Good
this
culture.
Krishna consciousness. All right. So, what's going on?
Announcements, Regan.
Announcements.
It's 364 days until Mara's next birthday.
Yes, it's true.
Begin planning now. Mark it down in your calendars. Save the date.
We're back to recovery group meetings today at 12:30, 1, 5, and 5:30.
Okay.
We have Cult of Cain's Asana class with Josh Kane for our supporting members at 10:30 a.m. today. And tomorrow's show is going to be at 12:30 Eastern time because we'll be doing it live from Veda Yoga. Also, we're selling merch.
That's a crazy time. That's a different time.
Yeah, it's totally bizarre.
30 Eastern time. Yeah, it's 9:30
California time. Yep.
Oh, we're doing it at 9:30 California time.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a live Q&A? Is that the idea?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, we're selling merch from Veda Yoga from 5 p.m. Friday and all day on Saturday. If anybody's interested on getting some of the Wisdom of the Sages t-shirts or sweatshirts,
That's
or
where you
any
get
of our
it.
gear.
Okay. It was weird.
It's like what do they call it? A pop-up shop.
Pop-up. Everything's a pop-up nowadays. You notice that? We got a pop-up yoga class going on. Used to be called a workshop. Now it's like a pop-up.
All right.
Okay. I got a pop-up nugget today.
Who's it
You know
from?
that? It's from your favorite
like a
Stoic
Pop-Tart?
and mine. It's a Pop-Tart. They were the best. Ever get into like food like you were into as a child and have it as an adult. It's like, this is so disgusting.
I know.
I used to
Pop-Tart.
love these.
Frosted Pop-Tart, even worse.
A frosted Pop-Tart when the frosting was like a piece of rubber sitting on top of a very gross, not even whipped cream. It was just some type of oily cream. In those Hostess cupcakes, I thought they were the best. See, my mom never bought me goodies. To get one of those, I'd have to trade my entire lunch to get that for one cupcake from one kid.
For
But
me, it was a
anyway.
s'more. That was considered such a delicacy. And then as an adult, I had one. I was like, this thing is like
I just can't.
terrible.
I can't eat even a toasted marshmallow. It's,
Cotton candy.
oh, forget it. Children eat.
What about dots? A little drop of sugar with some poisonous coloring put on top of it.
God.
Stuck to a piece of glue to piece of paper.
I'm just gonna eat them right off the paper.
Just eat the paper.
There's got to be something good that lasted.
It's okay, Raghunath.
Vegan
Let's go to the
Pop-Tarts.
nugget. I got you started when I said Pop-Tart. I shouldn't have said that.
You did. You did. Well, they have gelatin in them also. The Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
All right.
Nugget. Who's it from?
This is from Marcus Aurelius. He never ate a Pop-Tart on Pop-Tart
No,
on
he
principle.
never had anything
He's
like
like,
that.
I don't eat Pop-Tarts. I will not eat any Hostess product or Little Debbie's.
He had like figs.
Little
things
Debbie's
like
were
that.
the budget goodies that my mom would buy. It was like, they're 99 cents for 40. I was like, Mom, no one likes them. Oatmeal cream.
Oatmeal cream pies are pretty good though.
There you go.
They were
Linda,
the
Linda.
budget.
As soon as you said that, she said oatmeal cream pie.
You know what else was? You know what else was bad?
No, the Raghunath. No, I don't want to even know.
Just one more. The
I don't-
Hostess pies, which I thought were so good. It was just like dipped in sugar, fried,
They were
dipped in
frosted,
sugar,
Yeah.
and just had like the filling was so gross. It was like boiled cherries in a syrupy gel. You never
Yet
had
Marcus Aurelius had to
pie?
say.
Marcus Aurelius hated those Hostess pies.
Okay. What do you say?
Marcus Aurelius said, accept the things to which fate binds you. Okay, there's things that fate binds us to.
Yeah. Accept
Right.
it.
Accept them. What a freedom once I accept it instead of fighting what fate has given me. Accept the things to which fate binds you
Yeah.
and love the people fate
With
brings you together.
With whom?
Love
fate
the
brings you
people
together.
with whom fate brings you together. Fate brings you together with all types of people, don't they? Some people are really great, and some people are slightly painful.
Love
to be
them
with.
anyway.
You gotta love them. It's
Okay.
pretty. But do so with all your heart. So
Not
don't
half-hearted.
just don't accept. Do it with all your heart. Yep, this is what I got, and this is what I'm gonna do with it. You know.
There you go.
You know what I had? I had a two-legged cat once named Yashoda. Nicest cat in the world, and it only had two front legs. And this cat lived this statement by Marcus Aurelius. He only had two legs and was like, you know what? I'm going to make the best out of these two legs. This cat did everything. He could climb on top of my bed. He could climb up the stairs, down the stairs.
Maybe the two legs were a blessing, missing the two legs was a blessing because a lot of those cats, they're very uppity. They're very standoffish. They seem to be constantly annoyed. And it sounds like this cat was loved to people whom fate brought it together with.
Yes, yes.
So maybe it appreciated the help.
Died
Like,
died a noble death. We had a very sacred burial for her.
did you get
tulsi
wheels
beads.
for it?
No. You know what? I said, you know what? You got no legs. You're going to have to accept this. And the cat was like, yes.
I accept.
Meow. She accepted it. Yeah. Well, when I first got her, she didn't move. And I was like, did I just like adopt a pillow?
That I have to feed and clean up after?
But then after it felt like, okay, it's safe here. She just like sort of scooted around the house.
Now, what we've been reading, Raghunath, we're hearing from the Python Man. We've been calling him the Python Man.
Yes.
And he's just yesterday we got to a part where he's comparing two animals that he learned from. One was the bee and one was the
That's right.
python.
That's
Seems
right.
like he took the python route. But there's something that's being teased out, in this description. We're going to hear about the python today. But there's two ideas that are being contrasted, and one is you work hard for material gain. That's the bee,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he shared with us what he recognized in that was that the bee works so hard, the beekeeper comes and takes all the honey anyway. So much of what we're working for, struggling for, we may not even truly benefit from.
That's right. We're talking about people, thieves, rogues,
Yeah, all of that.
family members,
Family members, animals.
Want your money. Animals.
And then that's being contrasted with the python, who the idea is they're just accepting what material gain comes. Over here, Raghunath. Over here. They're accepting whatever material gain comes. And why? Because it allows you to keep your focus on your spiritual goal.
Right.
Right. And so, here's the idea. Marcus Aurelius is talking about fate. And I think in our culture, like if you go to like all the movies we watch and the kind of stories that we get, generally the hero is portrayed as the one that's changing fate, right? That's like actively, fate throws them some circumstances and they're going to fight against it and triumph over it. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, and I mean, there's a place for that in life for sure. But I think from the Eastern stories, you get another kind, you also get another kind of hero. And that's the one that has the power to accept their fate. And there's a power in that, like there's a heroism in that. That's very special. And I guess we're hearing about that in the form of this. What we're meant to get from this Python story is not that we're just supposed to lie around, but there's something in accepting one's faith. Accepting one's fate. That's very powerful, and particularly for the person that wants to practice deep spirituality, it's going to save you energy. How much energy can be saved by accepting our fate rather than always fighting against it, or even complaining about it, which doesn't do anything. But accepting it,
it's like we're going to live with it anyway. But I'm
so you
just
may
going
as
to
well
complain
stop
about
complaining
it the
about
entire
it.
time.
Yeah.
It's such an exhaustion. Complaining is such a prison, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And so that energy that we save can be redirected towards the spiritual goal through acceptance. Yeah, I was trying to think of like a heroic story about that, and you know what came to mind?
Heroic story of acceptance.
Of accepting fate.
Grandfather Bijma.
Well, I was thinking just in modern Western culture like that. But do you know the story about these three heroic priests that were on the Titanic?
No, I know the love story. What?
The love story.
Who were the priests?
There are three priests. I'd heard this before, but I kind of looked it up this morning. There are three priests. Their names were Joseph, Benedict, Perushitz, Father, I can't pronounce any of their names, Josaz Montvilla, and Father Thomas Biles. And I'm looking at their photographs. They look like young men, like in their 20s even, or maybe 30s.
Yeah.
And, they all chose, rather than be given a seat on one of the boats, they chose to go down with the ship. And when everyone was like all running around like crazy, they were like peaceful and calming to everyone. And there's stories about them. They sound like really special people. These are some of what the witnesses said. You ready?
Yeah.
They said, when the crash came, we were thrown from our berths. Slightly dressed, we prepared to find out what had happened. We saw before us coming down the passageway with his hand uplifted Father Biles. We knew him because he had visited us several times on board and celebrated Mass for us that very morning. He's walking, everybody's like, what's going on? And he's walking down the middle of the aisle and he's saying, he's got his hand up and he's saying, be calm, my good people, he said. And then he went about the steerage giving absolution and blessings.
It's so funny that they have Mass on a cruise ship.
Yeah, right.
Who would do that now? Yeah, we went
right.
to this. We
I
took
don't
a
know. Maybe they
cruise
do
in
have. I wouldn't be surprised if they have
Caribbean.
churches on some of these things. They must.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. A few of us around became very excited, and I think by excited they meant like, panicking.
Right.
And then it was that the priest again raised his hand, and instantly they were calm once more. The passengers were immediately impressed by the absolute self-control of the priest. He began the recitation of the rosary. The prayers of all, regardless of creed, were mingled, and all the responses, Holy Mary, were loud and strong. And there are other stories about just like how calm they were, how they calmed others, and then how heroic they were when they were offered those seats. They said, no, no, they accepted the fate. They didn't try to change it even. And
seems like there should be a little part of you that wants to change it. Like, are we going to get out of this? Are there enough boats for everybody? Who's got a life preserver?
But
Can we
and
call
then
for
once
help?
you
Can we plug the hole. I'd try to change it a little. You gotta do something, priests.
The priest, he's not gonna be able to do something. It's the thing's going. You saw the movie that the thing starts to tilt down, and it's like this thing's done. But I had this crazy thing coming out here, where the flight that I was on got delayed for like 18 hours.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you something, Ragana.
Tell me.
Oh, I don't know if you remember, but like 2 years back or something, I was taking a bus to go and visit you, and like the bus got like a little delayed, and then it stopped. They kind of have to stop for people to take a break and go to the bathroom and whatever.
Right.
And I was sitting next to this guy that was just like complaining.
Oh yeah.
And he was trying to get me to kind of commiserate
with him.
And I was expecting, because this was a comedy of errors, this flight thing. It was like they kept delaying it again and again, and each time it was for a different reason. And they didn't finally, the flight was supposed to be at 5:30 in the afternoon, and finally at like 1:30 in the morning they said, okay, we're going tomorrow, like that.
like what?
And it was on the flight, get on the plane, get off the plane, get back on the plane, get back off the plane. I was so impressed with the people. They actually were very accepting of their fate.
Who,
and
the passengers or the people working on the plane?
No, the passengers. They were actually, I was very surprised how they just kind of accepted. Every now and then there was like one or two people that just acted up, got a little snarky, and the rest of the people just kind of looked at them, and then they just kind of
be calm, my friends.
Yeah, be calm, good people. They just kind of like, they saw nobody else was joining in, and then they just shut up. And there was something, I was actually very impressed. But there's something in, what are we going to complain about now? Our fate is sealed in a certain sense, like we just have to accept what's happening. And it saves so much energy and so much negative vibes and so much just how your head gets all messed up. It's exhausting.
Sure.
Yeah. So spiritual person's learning how to kind of accept fate. There's a balance, I suppose, right?
If you had some kids with you, it would be a little difficult. You throw some kids.
Well, there are
in the
people
mix,
that did
the whole
have
thing.
kids.
It gets a little harder.
I'm not saying it's not hard,
They're
but
a
it's
lot-
still it's the fate, and you got to accept it.
Yeah, sometimes the kids don't accept the fate, and then you're dealing with them. But yes, it's amazing. I don't think I'd I don't think I'd handle the Titanic that well personally. It's just to be genuine here for a moment.
You do a George Costanza. Fire.
I'd identify. I identify as a woman or a child. Whoever gets that spot on the boat.
As a child.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe when those acts of bravery, and you don't know how you're going to act. They say you never know how a person's going to react in such a position, but I can give some hindsight or some foresight. I won't react well.
Well, we know that you have these mental loops about boats going down.
I think about it all the time,
especially when you're on them. All right. So, in any case, we'll hear about this, but let's keep this in mind. When we hear this story, let's not think, oh, it's giving us two options. One is to be industrious in life, and the other is just to lie around. No, but the idea that there's a theme. How much mental energy could be redirected towards our spiritual goal, or how much is wasted, preventing us from achieving our spiritual goal, that we could preserve through acceptance.
Truthfully, I think this whole thing, complaining was a good thing to be birthed out of this whole story too, because I mean, you see it in the lives of people who complain on a regular basis, and you have to deal with them. It's like, it's so exhausting. If anyone's got a relative that just complains about the same thing every time you see them, a situation, their relationship with your sibling or with your, their son-in-law or something like that, it's exhausting. It's like, it's like, stop already. You've been complaining of this for 40 years.
It's exhausting. It just wastes energy. And on that flight, there was one person in particular it was like a young lady, 20-something-ish. And you could just see she was in the full entitled, like, I can't accept my fate mode.
Yeah.
And she was like a little hyper about it, and on the phone and complaining on the phone and complaining to everybody else. And nobody was really joining in.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like everyone could kind of, you could kind of see in the eyes and in the minds of everyone. It was almost like they felt sorry for her.
Right.
That it was almost just like, this person is so, I don't know, unevolved. I don't know what the right word is, but like they're kind of you were saying it's difficult for children. It's right. They're kind of like a child. Even the children are like accepting this better than this person. Yeah. So how much are we like that, or how much of that is still in ourselves that we need to carefully observe and root out?
It's a big one. Practice 24 hours today. Here's our homework. 24 hours, no complaining about anything. You want to try that, Mara?
Accept your fate.
Nothing. No,
just accept your fate. Put on a blindfold, walk out your front door, and just accept whatever happens.
Walk right into that cactus. No, Mara never complains. She's easy.
She's not a complainer.
She's not. I talk about not complaining, but I complain.
All right.
I complain as soon as we get off the show. I was like, that Castuba.
He's not joking, right? Mara, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Sometimes?
No. All right, let's do this. Narayanam Namaskritya Chaiva Naratamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatujayam Madiriyat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 13, Text 38. Ever have those yoga teachers that are like, instead of going home, they're like, oh.
What's that? What do they do?
They just do some like, they took a the 2-hour Sanskrit course, and they're trying to put forth their appropriate way to say Om. Oh.
I've heard from the masters, from the yogis.
Yeah.
When you say Om, the majority of it is the like when you want Om.
It's the hum. Thank you. Oh, it is a pretty interesting sound.
Well, it's not different from Krishna.
All right. Let's get into this.
Okay. What text are we on? 33?
38. We got the
38
man telling his story.
Oh, right. The 38. Okay. No, I think we're on 37. Isn't it?
Oh, then I'll blame Mara. Okay. He's saying. This is
okay, so first we heard about the bumblebee, which was 36. He's industrious. He's working hard. But then the beekeeper comes and takes all the honey.
Yeah.
What was it for? Okay, next.
I worked so hard, I lost it all. 37. I do not endeavor to get anything, but I'm
Really?
satisfied with whatever is achieved in its own way. If I do
Except-
not get anything, I'm patient and unagitated, like a python, and I lie down in this way for many days.
Okay, so the python, the whole thing about the python is it may go days without eating, and it's not out on the hunt like so many other creatures, right?
You're like a cat.
It's like a cat.
Not like a cat.
It's not like a cat.
It's
yeah.
just laying down. If something walks by, boom, bah.
Yeah. Birds are running around all over, flying around all over the place.
Looking for
you know,
something to
four-legged
eat.
creatures are generally. I mean,
Coyotes.
I guess if you don't have legs, you may be more prone to just lying around. But,
Sort of goes with the body. I'm just going to lay here.
yeah, I'm gonna lay here. and
Although snakes
some
do
food
go
comes along.
very fast.
Some of them do. Yeah, they kind of go sideways, right? Sidewinders. Seen that?
Some are sidewinders, yeah.
Okay,
Sometimes let's not break into our part-time.
You don't even know what it's called. So,
What's the person who studies amphibians? Anyway,
any case,
sometimes I eat very small quantity, and sometimes a great quantity. Right? If a
Yeah.
small bird's coming by,
yeah, we're gonna hear a few verses
well, what
on
is he eating? Wait a second. Is he eating
people. I think
animals?
people are coming and giving him food.
Oh, okay.
Is he eating animals? No, he's not that much of a python. Okay, it's like is he eating a whole cow?
Oh, I get it.
So we're gonna hear a few verses that are going to speak to his acceptance, right? I accept what food comes my way. I accept the weather. I accept, he accepts the circumstances that come his way.
Yeah. It's like living in an ashram. You're sort of like, oh, we're getting this today. Oh, we're getting that today. Oh,
Yep.
we're getting this today. Oh, it's a feast today. Oh, it's a fast today.
Yeah, you
sort of
just
like,
have to,
okay.
You can't run to the fridge and change your fate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes I eat. Go ahead. read.
Sometimes they eat a very small quantity and sometimes a great quantity. Sometimes the food is very palatable and sometimes it's stale.
Yeah.
Sometimes prashad is offered with great respect, and sometimes food is given neglectfully.
Here, have this.
Sometimes I eat during the day and sometimes at night. Thus, I eat what is easily available.
He's not endeavoring. He's just accepting.
To cover my body.
Okay, now his
I
clothes.
use-
Right, that was his food. Now we're going to get to his clothes.
All right. To cover my body, I use whatever is available. Whether
Whatever's available.
whether it be linen, silk, cotton, bark, or deerskin, according to my destiny, and I am fully satisfied and unagitated.
We figured out the bark thing now.
Yeah,
We're never going to be confused about that again.
Yeah,
Picture a big, wide coconut tree trunk,
yeah,
and they just peel layers off of it, like skin,
right.
and then they dry that, and it comes leathery, and then
Yeah.
they just wear that.
And that, yeah. Sometimes I lie on the
Okay, now,
surface
now,
of the
it's,
earth.
now we first heard about his eating, then we heard about his clothes. Now we're hearing about his sleeping.
This is how I sleep here.
His
Sometimes I
shelter.
lie on the surface of the earth, sometimes on leaves, sometimes on a waterbed, sometimes on grass or stone. I just made up waterbed and you said nothing. Sometimes on a pile of ashes or on a pile of ashes. That might be comfortable. Or sometimes by the will of others in a place, in a
Palace.
palace, or on a first-class bed with pillows.
So sometimes people give him luxuries, he'll accept that, but he's not going to be attached to it. The next day, he
Right.
may be back on sleeping on a stone, right?
Yeah. Ever have Radha Swami stay over your house?
Sleeps on the floor.
Sleeps right on the floor. I was like, Maharaj, I got a bed right here. I changed the seats.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. It's like made some vow.
Now we hear about his, I guess we would call these the, what do you call it? Like this-
Hygiene?
Yeah, okay, you call it hygiene or
Personal
products,
hygiene?
hygiene products.
Hygiene products. Okay. Oh, my Lord, sometimes I bathe myself very nicely. I smear sandalwood pulp all over my body. I put on a flower garland, and I dress in fine garments or ornaments.
So those are all good things, right? Like
Yeah,
sandalwood
seems
pulp is,
good.
is very fragrant.
Fragrant flower
cooling
garlands are
kind of
good.
thing. It's expensive, right? It's
Yeah.
not easy to get. I mean, it's a bit of a specialty item.
It's considered high end back
Yeah.
then, especially. Then I travel like a king on the back of an elephant or on a chariot or a horse. And sometimes, however, I travel naked, like a person haunted by a ghost.
People think it's haunted by ghosts. What's the matter with that
Okay,
guy?
now listen, people like Linda hearing this. This isn't for you. Just try to absorb the essence here. I don't want to see you driving in on an elephant this weekend at Rath Yatra or naked. I don't want to see either one of those, Linda. Just take the essence of what we're talking about here. It's a long time ago.
She accepts.
Different people are of different mentalities. Therefore, it is not my business either.
Okay,
to praise
this
them.
is interesting. Hold on, one second. This is now he's talking about Marcus Aurelius said. What did he say again? He said, "Accept things to which fate binds you," and then he begins to talk about people because, like, people is a whole nother category, right? Because the other things don't have feelings.
Yeah.
But the people have feelings, and now, so the Python man's been saying, I accept this external situation, I accept that external situation, but now he's talking about the same principle of acceptance or simplicity applied to how one feels or reacts to other people, because that's like a really important world of interaction, right? With It's how you deal with the spiritual energy. First, he was talking about how he deals with the material fate. And now he's talking about his fate in terms of dealing with other spirits, other souls, the spiritual energy. All right, 42.
So there's 42. Different people are of different mentalities. Therefore, it is not my business either to praise them or to blaspheme them. I only desire their welfare. That's nice.
Yeah.
Hoping that they will agree to become one with the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead.
Interesting.
Krishna.
Yeah.
That's what you wish them. We wish them deep connection. We
How
wish
did
you well.
Prabhupada sign his letters?
He signed his letters. Mukunda Kishore, do you know? Yeah, your ever well wisher.
Your ever well wisher.
Isn't that
That's
beautiful?
Nice. That's sweet.
Isn't that
huh?
beautiful? Your ever well wisher.
I wonder if that was a translation of some Hindi or Sanskrit.
And
phrase.
that's the mood in Bhakti. We're practicing not having enemies, even people we don't like, even people that drive us crazy, even people with different political views of us, even people that have actually harmed me. We actually are training ourselves to be their well-wisher. We're not seeing even what they're doing. We're seeing that there's a soul underneath all that chaos, and we wish them well. We want them to have spiritual connection.
So he's saying different people are of different mentalities, right? I'm going to expect that I'm going to bump into some people, they're going to be sweet and kind, and so I'm going to bump into other people, they're going to, if we would have read more about those heroic priests, those testimonies, some of them were saying like they were kind of performing the rosary with people. They were all standing around.
Oh my God!
And other people were mocking them as they were doing that.
Mocking them.
Yeah.
The ship is going down. I wouldn't have time to mock anybody.
Well, they were mocking them. It even said they were like dancing around them in a circle, mocking them. Right? Can you imagine?
I can't imagine this scene.
And the priests were just like, they even accepted that, right? Like they didn't fight back and say, "How dare you act like that? You're going to go to hell," and this and that. No. They just stayed focused on where they're at. And now we're hearing about this Python, and he's saying,
what got you into the Titanic thing this morning?
well, I was just thinking of people that accepted their fate in a heroic manner.
And so how did you hear about these guys?
I heard about it a long time
ago. A while ago?
Yeah.
They weren't in the movie, were they? The priests?
I don't remember. I didn't spend a lot of time with that movie.
I was quite impressed with the musicians in that movie.
I also thought, they just kept playing the music for people. Like,
yeah, I felt like, you know what? Yeah.
There's something in that was like, what was the most beautiful thing in our life? Let's just spend our last moments that way,
Yeah.
Which is, you think about what you think about.
You think about what you think about.
So here he's saying, I accept that I'm going to meet people with different mentalities. I accept that. And then he says this, and he's going to, I think, expand on this a bit too. Therefore, it is not my business either to praise them or to blaspheme them. Right? I only desire their welfare, hoping that they will agree to become. And now we get to like what his freed up mental space has allowed in, right? Like
There's so much mental space, so much mental storage containers taken up with people you got issues with.
oh
Just
yeah.
flick through your feed. Oh, I got issues with this person. I can't believe this person's saying this. Especially since Kamala Harris is gone, the hate in America has risen to new levels in the last week. Have you noticed that? It's just like I can't even look at my phone.
Well, elections do that for sure.
Yeah, it's just so hateful. And it's like when you can just let go of the hate and say, you know what? They're a spirit soul. There's chaos hovering about them. I wish them well.
I wish them well.
It's such a nice place to be. You can actually become a sadhu. You can actually give spiritual information to people.
Yeah.
When you keep the main thing.
And so Bhagavatam's showing us that, right? That this is a person who is very consciously gone to extremes, even in terms of I'm going to free up my mental space for deep spiritual contemplation by accepting my fate. And where it's brought him is that he feels a kind of a very pure kind of feelings towards other people, where he's got no enemies in this. He's wishing everyone well in a genuine way in his heart. And he's hoping that they will agree to become one with the super soul, to unite with the super soul, right? To connect. I just hope that they all find God within themselves. That's all I wish for them. I don't wish that they'll stop acting this way, or that they would be nicer to me, or that they would, be like this or like that. I accept them the way they are. And I'm wishing them this highest spiritual connection that I feel within myself, and therefore I wish it for others. He's gone very deep. Prahlad was looking for someone that has something deep to share, and he found them, and this is what this person has to share. Now he gives this. Do you remember back a couple chapters, Raghunath? We were hearing instructions. I forget who was giving them now. But we were hearing instructions about how to merge your body into the elements and merge your mind into the elements. Who was saying that? It had to have to do with Prahlad, right?
I can't remember.
I forget. I think it was just like 2 chapters back or something like that. And we're hearing how, like you take your senses, like you merge your eyes and you make them an offering to the sun. And Prabhupada said, I think I have the quote here. This is what this is. Okay. One must merge the false ego into the total material energy, and merge the total material energy into the supreme energetic. This is the process of becoming free from material attraction. That may have been from this purport, but I remember Srila Prabhupada had a way of explaining that. He explained that the way that we're hearing this can be understood metaphorically. In other words, we did hear about yogis that actually physically like just lit their body up through meditation, and all the elements returned into the elements. But Prabhupada was saying that these instructions, like, let me offer, all the elements within my body back into to where they came from. And we hear something very similar to in this verse. Why don't you read it, 43?
The mental concoction of, use the word discrimination, which sort of means discernment, right? The mental concoction of discernment between good, between good and bad, should be accepted as one unit.
Very interesting.
Then invested in the mind, which should then be invested in the false ego.
Yes.
Interesting. The false ego should be invested in the total material energy. This is the process of fighting false discrimination or false discernment.
This is very
the world of this is good and this is bad. He is good, he is bad. They are good, they are bad. And we're living with that hate for the others. Can I read that again just to let that sink in?
Yeah, I don't think it even hate is definitely there, but I don't think it even has to be hate necessarily, right? But go ahead, read it again.
The mental concoction of discrimination between good and bad should be accepted as one unit and then invested in the mind, which should then be invested in the false ego. The false ego should be invested in the total material energy. This is the process of fighting false discrimination, false discernment.
Okay. So he's saying, in other words, all that we just read about food, about how he dresses, about where he sleeps, right? The soft mattress with the pillows, that's good. The hard rock or the cold ground, that's bad. These clothes are good. Those clothes are bad. These people that speak nice to me are good. Those people that are a little bit more rough with me, they're bad. He said, you take all of that and you make it one unit, right? It's a really interesting way. That's just because, in other words, I'm going to take all my judgment and call it judgment, right?
When someone said, well, you're getting rid of all your opinions, it's not good to have opinions.
It's not a question of not having opinions, but he's saying, I'm not wasting my energy on this, Particularly, I'm not wasting my energy on that can't be changed. I'm learning to accept. What do you lagged out there, Ragnar?
Well, what I would say to my kids when they were little, I would say, make a bridge and get over it.
Make a bridge and get over it. Okay.
Yeah, build a bridge and get over it. Just like
you had something else, like you get what you get and don't get upset.
You get what you get and don't be upset.
Yeah. Little nuggets of wisdom from Father Raghu.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing boils down to this deep acceptance of what is and God's plan.
So
and I'm just gonna I'm gonna tolerate it. I'm gonna move forward, and I'm not gonna let it trip me up.
We have to kind of crack our conditioning. It's not a question. Oh, he doesn't have opinions. It's the whole point is that he's been able to. just see what he was able to do. He says, okay, I'm going to take all these opinions about these things that are constantly changing anyway, because that's the nature of the world. There's always going to be pleasant followed by unpleasant. That's the nature of how the material energy works. I'm going to shrink it down into one unit, and I'm going to merge that into my mind, right? He said, the mental concoction of the discrimination between good and bad should be accepted as one unit and then invested in the mind. The mind here, the manas, right? This is what he says, actually. I have the Sanskrit here. Vikalpam juhuyach chitau. The vikalpam, the discrimination between good and bad. Juhuyat, one should offer it, chitau, into the fire of the mind. I'm just going to burn it there in the mind. And then tam manasyartha vibrame. And then tam, that consciousness, manasi, in the mind, then you offer that into the ego. Right? So in other words, all of that good, bad, complaining, I want this, I want that, I'm just going to burn it in the mind. And then that mind I'm going to take and I'm going to offer it to the ego. In other words, who I think I am is so much related to what I like and I don't like. Right? Like, in other words, like I say this sometimes, like you take some how we identify. What do we mean by false ego? Who I think I am, what the identity that I've bought into. Like some people, their false ego dictates to them what they've accepted as a self. Like, I'm a sophisticated person.
Sure.
And if someone said, like, if we were to stop people on the street and say, like, do you consider yourself sophisticated or like simple, down to earth?
No, very sophisticated.
Okay. So once you say that, I can begin to predict things about you, your likes and your dislikes, like the food that you like. Well, I shop at the gourmet grocery store. I like to eat at the French restaurant, the music that you like. Well, I'm into jazz and I'm into classical music and opera, But if someone's like, no, I'm not a sophisticated person. I'm just like a down-to-earth guy, What car you drive, I drive the pickup truck,
I listen to Fish.
To Fish? Well, yeah, I would think, Fish are kind of like a little bit avant-garde, I suppose, right? I would say, I listen to John Cougar Mellencamp, or I listen to, whatever, rock and roll, and the food they're like, I'm just happy with, like a burger and fries. I'm not. You send this guy to a French restaurant, he's like, what's going on here? It's like so expensive, and there's hardly anything on the plate, and they try to make a little design here,
Yeah, I say that too. What the heck is going on with this design?
So,
I
so
don't
the
want to
point.
design. I came here for food.
So the point is that what we like and what we don't like is very connected to who we think we are and who we think we aren't. But we're neither of these things. These are shifting and constantly shifting from one body to another as we go through different bodies in life. None of them have any lasting truth. I'm going to take all of that. I'm going to invest it. I'm going to go from the mind to the ego, and then I'm going to take that conception of myself, and then I'm going to invest that in the total material energy. That's not me either. It's like the nati kind of thing, I'm not my likes and dislikes, which is the manas. I'm not I'm not this false conception of who I am. I'm not this sophisticated person or this down to earth person. I'm going to burn it all. I'm going to take all that and say that's all matter, and I am spirit standing separate from that. And he's doing this through a type of meditation, and he's actually achieving self-realization. Prabhupada said, it was a couple purports ago, I think it was a purport to text 33, but he said, the real business of life is to ask, who am I? And to understand oneself. And through this acceptance, he's been able to go into these deeper states of meditation and really stand separate from the mind, from the ego, and realize who he is, realize the self. So it all has a purpose, right? All these, his behavior, which appears kind of crazy, when you get to know him, you see, whoa, that guy achieved the goal of life. Like he really understood who he is, and he achieved a much deeper level of happiness and wisdom than all of us that are running around.
To know the Python Man is to love the Python Man.
It's true.
Who do you think you are, Kostuba?
Who do you think you are?
I'm trying to think what is your false ego thinking you are?
Who do you think you are, Raghunath?
That's a great one to say to people. Who do you think you are? Usually that's, yeah.
I mean, I don't know who I am, but what I do know is that I'm not this, but I know what I'm not,
That's what is good about shaving your head, I will say. Shaving your head, it's sort of like, okay, because there's so much identity within the hair, isn't there?
Are you?
And the beard, everything.
Why are you going backwards, Raghu?
Why I'm going backwards? I'm living in my little false ego a little bit.
Okay, the little
I'll say it.
What do they call it, midlife crisis?
If I wish it was midlife. If I'm going to live till 120, then it would be a midlife crisis.
No, it's fine, Raghunath. It's fine.
I'm in the end of my life crisis coming up. No, but it's interesting. How much do we invest in hair as identity, as our worth, as
It's a big thing.
It's a huge thing. That's why, people like yourself, people like Neil Maxwell and David Charles Wilson, you're like, I'm over it. I'm over it. People like me and the Viking and, who else is on my side? Timothy Tucker, he's got good hair. Chris Chaitanya, we're living in our check us out, we're wild men.
It's neither good or bad. It's neither good or bad.
It is. It is all bad.
Okay. Now let's hear a little bit more about these priests. Should we wrap up with that?
Okay. Thought we were over.
No,
we're
not
done.
over.
It's 6:57. But okay.
We're just showing what this, because you can imagine that these priests were living austere, simple life. They accepted what they got.
Yeah.
And it opened them up to this powerful kind of insights and ability to, when they faced the test, how they thrived, When all the excitement became fearful, all the Catholics on board desired the assistance of the priests with the greatest fervor, please bless me before I die. Both priests aroused those condemned to die to say acts of contrition and prepare themselves to meet the face of God. They're like, okay, get your mind set, bring your mind to God.
Acts of contrition are like confession?
How bad we are, what bad Catholic boys are, right? Acts of contrition.
It's acts of contrition, Mary. Hey, Siri, what are acts of contrition?
I think it's certain prayers that were offered by Jesus at different stages or something like that. You work on that, Mary. They led the rosary and others answered. The sound of the recitation irritated a few passengers.
It's an expression of sorrow, an acknowledgement of wrongdoing. It's a confession. A
Okay.
promise to amend one's life and avoid sin.
Okay.
Oh.
It's kind of easy when you.
It's easy when you got 10 minutes left to live. I'll never sin again, I promise.
Okay. Then the sound of the recitation irritated a few passengers, and some ridiculed those who prayed and started a ring dance around them.
Wait, is this from like someone's journal?
This is from the people that survived, that they
Okay.
shared their testimonies about what was going on.
Wow, a ring dance.
The two priests were engaged continuously giving general absolution to those who were about to die. Those entering the lifeboats were consoled with moving words.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Now listen to this. Some women refused to be separated from their husbands, preferring to die with them.
Oh.
That's we call the Indians backwards for doing that sati and all that, but here we see the same thing, right? It's kind of, you have to admire it, Finally, when no more women were near, some men were allowed into the boats. Father Parashitz was offered a place which he declined. No.
Wow.
Let another man go. Right?
Wow.
All right. There you go.
Mara, what would you do if you got on the boat? Would you be
Would
like,
you go down?
goodbye?
Rogo, I'm going down with you.
I'm
She didn't answer that.
She didn't answer. I thought she'd have a quick answer. It's okay if you want to go on the boat alone.
You ready for some takeaways?
No, I want to know if I want to know if you get on that boat without me.
Are you ready for some?
I'm okay if you would. Just tell the world.
Tell the truth.
Hard to say what I'd do in that situation.
I'll just
You're
say.
like, oh my God, I can't
Rogo,
believe
it was great.
Bye.
It was great, Rogo.
We had a great time. Remember that
Try to
time?
chant.
Remember that time we went to Nepal? Don't forget to chant.
Don't forget to chant.
Would you cry at least?
Yeah, I'd cry.
That's all I want. I'm not saying you'd have to like jump on board with me and go down with the ship. I just want to know a little insight to how you'd react.
Well, like in the
I try and
Titanic,
get your seat in my
that woman
lifeboat.
didn't go down with him, right? She got on the boat.
And I bet they'd offer Kostuba the seat, wouldn't they? Oh, look, Kostuba seat. And
I would say
Kostuba
no.
like, oh,
Give it to
I
Raghunath.
can't, but all right.
If you insist.
You would take that seat. You'd be like, in a humble way, you'd be like, oh.
I kind of like walk backwards into it, like, no, but all the while I'm like kind of walking towards it.
I was the guy dancing around the priests.
That's crazy. Oh,
That is crazy. I mean, who's to say how anybody would react in such a situation? Maybe
I
they
don't think
had
I
to.
would do that.
I know. Yeah, I know. Maybe they'd try to sin. Maybe, it's like my last time on earth. I'm going to sin.
All right, takeaways.
Hey, Mara, how would you react?
I'd try and get you a seat on my lifeboat.
I'd be like,
Can we
I'd
fit
be
in?
like, there's more room on this thing. Can people move over, please? It's like when
Don't
you're
you
trying
know
to get
who
on the
I
subway.
am?
Please move to the back of the subway. I'd be like, come on, make some
We
space.
can squeeze some more on here.
Squeeze.
Rago would be sinking the lifeboat by trying to get everybody on it.
We're gonna say,
Like, no,
shouldn't the
come on, this
older
is gonna be the
people
party
get off the
Let's get more
boat? And
people.
all right,
All right. How much energy can be saved by accepting our fate?
just accept it.
Redirect your mental energy towards your spiritual goals.
There we go. We're so confused. He's
Thinking
thinking
about those lines.
I'm so disturbed right now because there's always one person like, this boat holds 15. That's all we're taking. And there's one
Come
person
on, we
who's
can
like,
push
come
it.
on, let's get enough. I know this just from driving kids around. They're always like, listen, we have to double buckle 2 kids in the back seat. Is that okay? And the parents are like, go for it. And
Like-
some parents are like, never double buckle.
Can't we test the boat? Like,
Can't we test the
put
boat?
a couple more people and see how it goes?
You're going by number. These boats go by weight, people.
we if the heavier people got off the boat,
Yeah,
we
maybe
could-
2 people get on.
We might have lost him.
we might have lost. Okay,
All right.
takeaways, Mary. Takeaways.
Observe and root out our negativity.
Observe it, then root it right out. I like the
Ian?
way he said it. Make it one item, right? One unit.
Yeah.
Burn it in the mind.
Be an ever well wisher.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
Keep the main thing to become a sadhu.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do we invest in our hair?
How much, Roga? How much was that beard oil? And how much time did you spend combing
I've
that
got
lovely
this
beard of yours?
pomade from Pappy's Barbershop. You use this much and the whole thing's done. I kid
Did
you
you
not.
use, you know what we'd spike the hair with back in the day, Raghunath?
Gelatin. That's
No,
what
there
we
was people that
use.
really knew. It was called Murray's pomade.
Murray's pomade.
Yeah. It's like for afros.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Squirrel.
just sure. You said pomade, it brought it all back.
We are
Okay.
not our likes and dislikes.
We're not our likes. We're not our dislikes.
Knox
not-
gelatin.
We're
That's
not
what it was.
sophisticated. We're not down to earth.
To know Python Man is to love Python Man. And
To know about, yeah.
you get what you get and don't get upset.
Make
Yeah,
a bridge
you
getting
can.
over it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
See,
Oh,
these people, they didn't know. Parmesan Dippity do no. Knox Gelatin, no. Well, you know what we got to find
Maritime.
out? We got to find out from Punk and Disorderly here.
Punk and
What did you
disorderly.
use?
What do you use? Krishna conscious and disorderly. What do you use? Everybody, remember, we're going to India. Mika, Stuba, and Mara are hopping on a plane. We're taking a bunch of you. Come to India with us October 17th. Go to my website, raghunath.yoga, RAGHUNATH.yoga for more information. Trip is filling up. And Nepal's filling up right after that, too. Anyway, they're both filling up. Check that out, both on my website. And looking forward to seeing everybody at LA Rock Theatre. A lot of last-minute sign-ups, I see. What's the message board saying here today? Raghu, Breeze,
Green
Pastor
stamps.
Stuba mentioning green stamps the other day.
Yeah, you could have gone on with that one for a while.
What are green stamps? I mentioned green stamps?
I mentioned green stamps, and you didn't take the bait because you're probably totally absorbed in something else at the time.
Yes, I remember them now. S&H green stamps. That was the origin of frequent flyer miles, I think.
Green stamps?
Yeah, I think so. You sort of like, it buys into your like, I can get something for
How did
free,
you
a
get
free
green
cup of
stamps again? You got them at the
coffee.
grocery store or something like that?
Yeah, you got it at the grocery store for whatever you spent, and you
Then
put
you
it
have
in a
some
little
catalog.
booklet, and you turn it in, and you get a coupon.
And then you get a coupon. Then you mail it in, you get a rebate.
It's exhausting. Yeah, the world is driven by hair. That's what I think. What would happen if we lose our hair? Laura Rubino, the Ruby.
So today is our LA thing.
It's at
We're gonna connect
12:30.
with people.
12:30 tomorrow,
First
Laura
night.
Rubino.
Hey, Parmananda, did you see that $219 bike I think I sent? Huh? You're eating your words now. Come on.
It's like, now.
You're eating your words now. You knew it was a good bike.
You think you're your bicycle permanent. That's the problem. These bike people, they're really into their bikes. It's like,
Parmanand's like a real bike guy?
It's an exception. Nah, I think he likes them.
You
I
got
like
all the
that he
gear?
likes them.
You got all the gear?
You know what? I don't like the
Toes?
gear.
No.
Don't get me going on bike gear.
But you bought it all, Raghunath.
I don't.
Fancy
buy it.
shorts. And
Shorts are one thing, sir. You need a butt pad.
you got the wicking
That's
kind
not
of
fashion.
shirt, though. You got it all.
You know what? Those were hand-me-downs from Sachi Suta.
Oh,
I don't like all that stuff. I like a cotton T-shirt. I don't shave my legs to ride a bike. Some people do it.
yeah.
It makes me go faster. I don't care. I'll go a little
Makes me go
slower. Keep
faster.
my hair on my legs. Shave my back first.
That's what's really slowing you down.